I, a 27-year-old woman, am infatuated with my sister's 26-year-old male ex. Is dating him too much to ask for? Initial post. I find myself in a somewhat difficult predicament. When Amy, my sister, was 22 to 24 years old, she dated Paul for 2.5 years. We got along well, but I wasn't too close to him. Sadly, he had an affair with her best friend, which really wounded my sister. He hurt and enraged me for doing that to my sister. My sister developed depression and is still afraid to date because of her troubles with trust. I recently took a third-wheeling cruise with my friend and her partner. I was chilly towards him as he greeted me at the poolside bar. I informed him about myself, and to my amazement, he took responsibility for it. He admitted to me that even now, after all these years, he still feels bad. I made the decision to move on from the past, and we became friends. We went on trips, went shopping, etc. while we were both third-wheeling. I had no idea our chemistry was that intense. We both hooked up after an inebriated mishap one evening. The secret was revealed after that, and we had a few more encounters. I had been texting with him when I returned, and we are thinking of moving things along a bit more seriously. My sister and I haven't discussed it, but I can tell she's improved and changed. In addition, it has been a few years. For the top comments prior to reading the update. This is a disaster just waiting to happen. OP just destroyed her relationship with her sister for the sister's scumbag ex-boyfriend. Hope this was worth it. My sister is my world. If she did this to me, I would cut her out of my life completely. Do you have no respect for her? The pain she went through, and you want to throw that all away for some guy that is a renowned cheater? Wow. I hate my sister, and still, I would never do something so horrific. Right, but it's changed, she said. Well, if it's changed, why is he trying to get with his ex-sister? This half is selfish. Wait until her sister finds out, and then this broad won't understand what she did wrong. Wow, just wow. She fell right into this guy's hands and doesn't even realize it. Please update us when he cheats on you, and your sister goes no contact on you. Here's the update. I choose to give him an opportunity. He is still a repulsive liar, though. I made the decision to inform my sister of what had transpired and our plans a few weeks prior. She stated I'm dead to her and blocked me since she didn't take it well at all. That hurt my feelings, but I had hoped that she would move over it and maybe even learn to be glad for me as she recovered from the breakup and found someone else. I saw a bonnet last night while I was there at his apartment. I rarely wear bonnets, and this one was not mine. That made me suspicious. I remained silent and patiently awaited his dozing off. I unlocked it using the Face ID. I looked through his phone when he was sleeping, and it wasn't good. I told him he was a terrible guy when I woke him up. Never have I felt so isolated. I want my sister to know that I fell for his lies and that I'm sorry, even though I haven't even told her yet. I'm guessing you're feeling pretty dumb for defending him so hard in your last post and for throwing your relationship with your sister into the narrator. Yeah, the only thing I can do now is take full responsibility for my actions and pony up an apology. It's sad because what he did is exactly why people are afraid to give others second chances. Right, that's perfect. You weren't betraying your little sister. You were being a good person and giving the ex who cheated on her with her best friend a second chance behind her back. You just started talking to him, and then hanging out with him, and then banging him, and then dating him behind her back by mistake. Oopsies. How could you have possibly known this would hurt her feelings or that he would be cheating on you next? The important thing for her right now is that you need her to accept your apology and start feeling sad for you even though she doesn't want to talk to you. Her wishes are, as you have already established, less important than yours now that you're a victim too. Next story update. Did I really think it was a good idea to yell at my sister-in-law during my wedding and tell her that no one gave a damn about her pregnancy? Initial post. I, a 26-year-old woman, and my 30-year-old spouse were married at COVID. Restrictions prevented us from having a large ceremony, and regrettably, my family was unable to attend because they reside in a separate nation with similar limitations. After the restrictions were finally eliminated, my family and I made the decision to hold a more traditional ceremony in my own nation. The members of my husband's family arrived, including his parents, a few friends, relatives, and his sister Sarah, a 32-year-old woman, and her husband Matt, a 28-year-old man. The remainder of the family resides in the U.S., whereas Sarah and Matt do not. They got married in their home state a few months ago, and ever then, whenever we talk about anything, even if it's not related to our wedding, Sarah would add that she and Matt are going to travel to get pregnant. Not a big deal for my hubby and my wedding. I could not care less about anything other than reminding her that she needs to ovulate in order for it to occur. It got annoying when Sarah would constantly say, "Make sure there's enough time for Matt and Di at the hotel so we can get busy making our baby." Again, kind of gross, a little annoying, but whatever. We would discuss all the activities and SL excursions people wanted to do so we could go ahead and book it. They are adults. Sarah and Matt come in our home state a week or so before we all go to my home nation, wanting to spend some time with family because they don't get to visit them very often. While speaking, my spouse, his parents, my husband's brother, and my sister-in-law are present when Sarah unexpectedly reveals that she is expecting a child. We all congratulate them, feel giddy, and express our happiness. When we begin asking her some questions, Sarah reveals that she is 2 weeks pregnant. We advise waiting to notify other people since a lot might happen. Everyone kind of loses their joy and says, "Wow, that's really early." It is common for people to remain unaware of their pregnancy for at least 6 weeks, and even then, they are advised to hold off on telling others until after the first trimester. Despite their excitement and happiness, my brother-in-law and sister-in-law advised them further because they had suffered several miscarriages before to the birth of their first child. In response, Matt stated that they are only sharing with those who are closest to them, such as his parents. It's early, her parents, her siblings, and no one else. Sarah decided to tell her great-uncle and his wife as well when she invited them around for drinks the following day. Phoned her aunt and uncle and informed them, and by the end of the day, most of her mom's friends that dropped by the house were now aware of the situation, as Sarah had informed each individual she had told. Matt became even more irritated because they had made a deal to tell only a few individuals. At last, Matt gave up and asked her why, since it would be quicker, she didn't just put it on Facebook. She said that although she wants to, she believes it will be looked down upon. My spouse confided in me that she seemed to be attempting to deflect attention from us during our wedding, given her tendency to do whatever it takes to be the center of attention. She won't say anything because she won't know many people in my native country, so I told her not to worry. He consented, but then went to his parents to share his feelings with them and ask if they could kindly advise her to keep it to herself. They acknowledged that he had a right to feel that way before we left for the trip since they knew how much she detested it when she wasn't the center of attention. Nevertheless, I see my mom for the first time in 5 years when we depart for the wedding. It was obviously an extremely emotional reunion, but we soon got over our tears and had dinner with my husband's family. Sarah says to my mom, "Your daughter probably already told you, but I won't be drinking this trip," after I've introduced her to everyone. My mom responds, "That is no problem. You don't have to drink to have fun," and assures Sarah that she will still have fun even if she decides not to drink. Remember, this is 10 minutes after she met my mom, so Sarah interrupts her to say, "It's not my choice that she's not drinking, but that she's pregnant." "Congratulations," my mother replies before starting a new discussion. Once more, Sarah interrupts my mother to tell her that she is 2 weeks pregnant and giddy with excitement. Then, my mother, a medical professional, tells Sarah the same thing we did, that she should probably hold off on telling people until she's in her second trimester, but Sarah ignores her entirely. She had never met my aunts, cousins, uncles, sister, or grandparents before, and the same thing occurs with every one of them. Once more, my spouse calls his parents and begs them to encourage her to keep it hidden because he believes she is deliberately trying to divert attention from our wedding. They promise to speak with her. In fact, Matt approaches us and apologizes, stating that he acknowledges that things have gotten out of control and that there are far more individuals aware than they had originally agreed upon. In the future, we are waiting for one of our excursions while we are eating. I flew out for the wedding and caught up with a family that I lived with for 3 years when I first went to my husband's country for lunch. My sister-in-law is someone they have never met. My sister-in-law is sitting across from us, listening in as the wife and I discuss the wedding and all the preparations. At the table, my spouse gives the order for shots for each person. He informs the server that his mother is not interested in receiving one. My spouse says, "It's not a problem as Matt said he wants to." And everyone, including the wife and I, kind of stops and stares at my sister-in-law, who hears him ordering the shots and yells across the table, "I can't drink alcohol. You know I can't drink a shot. Why would you order me one?" I'm interrupted by my sister-in-law, who keeps up her ridiculous argument about my husband getting her drinks even though he knows she doesn't drink. Then, the wife argues that's alright because Matt promised to drink it, so it won't go to waste. Then, my sister-in-law complains once more about how aggravating it is that my husband gave her a shot. I tell her not to worry, that she can still drink it if Matt doesn't want to. She persists in this behavior till I eventually inform the wife that she is not drinking due to her pregnancy. In addition to congratulating her and asking how far she has come, the wife advises her to exercise caution when informing too many people. The week before the wedding, the same thing occurs roughly 3 more times. This is the reason I could be ill now. When it happened the last time, she was complaining about her illness to my high school acquaintances at the wedding, but nobody seemed to be asking why. All they could say was that they hoped she felt better and were sympathetic. She followed them over to talk to me, moaning once more about how sick she had been and almost pressuring them to find out why she had been feeling so ill. My mother-in-law heard me say that and told my father-in-law, who yelled at my husband, that Sarah was pregnant. Sarah went off crying when I finally said, "Sarah, are you freaking kidding me? No one cares that you're pregnant. They don't even know you," claiming that Sarah was offended by our actions and that she is now only happy. My husband believes I did nothing wrong, and because they are aware of my past, my high school buddies also believe I was alright. I was the a-hole, according to my mother and some of my husband's relatives. Therefore, am I a bad person for informing my sister-in-law that her pregnancy is unimportant? Before reading the update, these were the most popular comments. Not the a-hole. How much more talking does she need to do? According to what you said, she was attempting to command attention. Saying something like, "Can I have everyone's attention? My sister-in-law is pregnant, so let's get that elephant out of the room so she doesn't try to be the main character like she has been." Whenever she enters a room is a great way to be petty. I guarantee you'll hear a pin drop and she'll run off crying once more. That is quite clever. Hee hee. Additionally, create bingo cards based on the number of ways she will attempt to inform SL. Tell them the winner will receive a cake shaped like a baby if she is pregnant. It doesn't seem like Sarah is old enough to be a parent. It's hard for me to think there will be a child at all. Hello, I used to know a sister-in-law who miscarried every month following her 2nd or 3rd pregnancy. I can't remember which. She would phone my mother and tell her she was X number of days pregnant, not even weeks, and this was back before home tests, back in the mid-1970s. I would say to my mother, "Oh, so she got her period." Big whoops. Yes, my sister-in-law is just like that. She reportedly revealed her pregnancy during my wedding, was 4 weeks along, and miscarried a week or so later. It was difficult to feel any sympathy in this circumstance, even though I am aware that a miscarriage is awful for everyone, given that she had essentially just had her period. Here's the update. My spouse and I were furious during our vacation because we were traveling outside of the nation when we finally went on our honeymoon. Before we departed, we let our entire family know that the only method to get in touch with us in case of emergency was to give the hotel a call. While we were away, we informed Sarah that she had an appointment, and we promised to give her a call as soon as we returned home. One day, my spouse and I spent the entire day participating in activities outside of the hotel. When we returned, we discovered a letter stating that we needed to go to reception in our room. When we arrived at reception, the agent informed us that we had 7 missed calls from relatives and provided us with a phone number. Although we were unsure of the caller or the subject matter, we assumed it was an emergency. When we dialed the number, Matt answered. He was somewhat perplexed, asking whether we were okay and why we were calling him on our honeymoon. We mentioned that the hotel informed us that someone contacted him 7 times to check on him. Sarah wanted to speak with us, but Matt assured us that everything was okay. When Matt phoned Sarah, she inquired about our well-being and enjoyment, but our main concern was finding out what was going on. Sarah reported that she received some news from her doctor. She would not say anything, and we could hear her and Matt whispering to one another, so we asked her if everything was good. When Sarah finally gets back on the phone, we heard Matt reply to her. "Did you seriously call the hotel 7 times to tell them this? It could have waited." Sarah also mentioned that the doctor had informed her that she was expecting twins. We congratulated them and inquired if they needed anything else. We believed there to be an emergency. She answered that no, she just couldn't contain her excitement and fear and wanted to spread the news with everyone. She added that she told my mother over the phone as well, and that they are social media friends. My spouse and I expressed our happiness for them, but we genuinely didn't want to cause them any more trouble if it wasn't an emergency. Sarah stated she only wanted to share the good news and that we were being really impolite. We had to get ready for dinner, so we ended the call. My in-laws picked us up from the airport upon our return to the US and inquired as to whether we had spoken with Sarah. When we said yes, she revealed that she was expecting twins, and we were ecstatic. Then, according to my father-in-law, Sarah told them that we had been really impolite to her and Matt, that we had been dismissive, and that we had hung up. When we told them the truth about what actually transpired, they insisted that Sarah had not told the entire family. Now that we're back at our house, neither Sarah nor Matt have talked to us. However, Matt texted the two of us later, apologizing profusely for bothering us during our vacation and saying it felt terrible. We simply texted back, letting them know everything was well and expressing our excitement for them both. About the whole thing, all I can say is that I'm glad we live on the opposite side of the nation from Sarah. She sounds like a tiresome and annoying person. Matt, per you. I'm still not sure how she found out she was expecting twins after only 2 weeks of pregnancy. Sarah is 3 weeks pregnant. The Opie is 9 days old. I'm calling the twins BS since, even at 3 weeks, an ultrasound won't reveal any discernible movement, much less twins. It won't have taken long for the egg to implant. Either Sarah is genuinely attempting to take center stage, or this is some skillfully designed troll bait. If Matt accompanied her to the appointment where she learned about the twins, it would be a telling element. Since you'll start to observe activity on an ultrasound around 6 weeks, that's usually when an OB won't even visit you. If this is true, Sarah loves attention. Was your brother present when she visited the doctor? Was there a reason for her ultrasound? Many times, women who stage pregnancies say they are expecting twins. Although it's not a very plausible scenario, this woman sounds incredibly needy for attention. I've probably seen too many Dr. Phil segments about pregnant people who aren't, but if she posts any ultrasound photos, I'd do a reverse image search. I believe Matt accompanied her. She gave us a photo of the ultrasound as soon as we returned to the United States. It appeared to me like 2 infants, even though I'm not a doctor or in the medical industry in any way. Thank you. I did a reverse image search on the ultrasound. My mother-in-law verified that Sarah had misjudged her gestational age, and that she is actually closer to 8 or 9 weeks along after we had a conversation. She gave me the picture after telling her doctor she was expecting twins after her first ultrasound. This is so weird that I'm still wondering if she's really pregnant, or if we're going to see some sort of lifelong story about Matt and Sarah.